about part 5. We were talking about how we wanted to go up to the Berkshires to Williamstown, where this ducky is at Clark Museum. Reading the poetry of Smiling Whiteness of David Smith. Such fineness, I did not know would be waiting for me behind the door. Bright light shone above and shatters my heart below. Love does not surprise me anymore because it is all around me. When I find my thoughts crystallize in my walks, I drift into a sea of ecstasy and glee. There's nothing for me to believe because I can see. I can see. September 6, 1989, returning from Chicago. I must have been like seeing the master in Chicago or something. That one's not a bad poem, is it? Mm-hmm. Such fineness I did not know would be waiting for me behind the door. Bright light shone above and shatters my heart below. Love does not surprise me anymore because it is all around me. When I find my thoughts crystallize in my walks, I drift into a sea of ecstasy and glee. There's nothing for me to believe because I can see. Not bad. I haven't read that in a long time. Such beauty did make me wander. Such beauty did make me wander. When bliss is piled on top of bliss, I worry I will be no more. Elegantly, you gather up my thoughts and lay them in your basket. Love pervades the air. It's also returning from Chicago. The transfixing, accelerating, life-inspiring glances of God. Oh, getting heavy here. The self is vast and void in its true nature. Through the light of nature, heaven, the realm of profound knowledge and profound virtue. Through the harmony of the spheres, great knowledge dissolves into explicit obedience to the word of the word. From union to action moves the pure man in the universe, hidden in the universe itself. To once lay eyes on a man of purity is the beginning of knowledge, because there can be no knowledge without purity. What path was ever faster than the path of imitation? We will all make it there someday. It is all a matter of speed. Looking into the eyes of God brings transfixed acceleration and all other higher order derivatives. Knowledge is done. There is no rhyme or reason for what I do. I do what I do because he said so. Why do I do what I do? I do what I do because of how he suffered. He started alone on the path of love, and soon he was a caravan. I have joined that caravan. My statement is the joy of my face after seeing the bewitching eyes of God with the cloak of elaborate secrecy. I walk down the stairway and evaporate into heaven, and from the same place from which came my streams of joy comes the will to obey. Wow. That's crazy. And it goes on. I am under authority, and it is the source of my humility and the foundation of my discipline, and because I am under authority, I have authority. Victory is mine under the divine authority of the transfixing, accelerating, life-inspiring glances of God. Whoa. How heavy can that be? That's crazy. You want me to read that again?
No, continue reading.
Okay. That's very mystical. Sperm, the source of wit. I walked down the path of leisure sunshine, but inside my heart was frozen. Time spewed out of a giant, many-petaled turbine. Just as thoughts arise out of microcosms, when love became the pillar of my being, the world became my own self. Please don't separate me from my beloved. It becomes so sad. Sitting outside the gateway to heaven, Did you know there can be someone so unhappy? Thus it is ordained, even though I still walk, I am in fact dead. Love has the power to stop you dead in your tracks. On a sunny day, walking to the Metropolitan Art Museum, October 1889, David Smith. Isn't that a funny poem? There, I'm just walking to the Met Museum. A lot of time I was alone on these things. You just went to the park alone. Remember those pictures of me alone in the park? Remember how you were working in the park painting and writing poetry, and I was going to the park and doing the same, and writing poetry and walking. I was in fact dead. Love has the power to stop you dead. I was dead. Here we go. Swaps, caps, chastity, and simran. That's crazy. Subject to the great paradoxes, I am pushed and shoved into the beyond, pushed by the ever-compelling short squeeze of time. My mind adrift, what a horror. A horror, worse than the horror of the shareholder obliterators. Inspiration comes from the soul. Work is an overflowing energy from the soul and is automatic. One does not think, but only acts. The only use for thinking is in conjunction with action. Perhaps mental action. Thought without action or simply melancholy and worry is a product of lust. Here I'm saying thinking and melancholy comes from lust. A chaster man does not think because a chaste man has gone beyond the world of mind and matter. A chaster man goes beyond union to action, from union to action. Union is the union with God and happens when the mind is still. In the state of stillness or effective death, the mind is charged with inspiration and energy. Power surges and entices the imagination. Dedicated to Serge Santiago San Bank for his benevolence. Here I play on the word surge because some guy was named Serge. Power surges and entices imagination. When was reality anything but the imagination? Ask Swan Sang, a Buddhist idealist of the consciousness-only school. Ask Swan Sang about that. This energy is the force of destiny. It is the cause of action. A blueprint for action, such is the state of the man connected to Tao. The way is open, attention is in the forehead instead of in the back, instead of in the lower back. This is work supported by the Tao. It goes on. Caps and swaps supported by chastity and simran, the formula works. Simran is a repetition of the magic words that open up the musical sky. From the music of the spheres, one can find relationships between such remote topics as music and mathematics. Masters of the universe converged for leveraged giving buyouts. I'm playing on finance words here, dear. Here I say masters of the universe converged for leveraged giving buyouts. The sweet nectar of women sweetens, the tremendous beauty expands. There is a secret love relationship between the yogi and the vixen. That is known through the eyes. It is a sort of luster, but these are the great paradoxes, the paradoxes of love, the paradoxes of time. Let the tears wash away my knowledge, because there is no knowledge. Knowledge implies a clinging. The secret is not to hold on, but to go with the flow. The flow is the ocean of light, the currents of the sound, only seen in this world of tears. There is no need for the books of wisdom when you are caught in the current, but they can console the lonely. Who would think that wisdom would be so obscure? That would hardly exist. That what is. It's like a typo. Something like that. Would hardly exist, resting in the delicate sheets next to the finest in nature, close to the heart. It's strange. I have there the Mitsubishi deal. See, I've mixed up my work, the finance, caps and swaps. I mixed it up with finance and mysticism, and here you have Mitsubishi deal is an actual consulting job where I'm pricing caps and swaps for Mitsubishi Bank. So I say the Mitsubishi deal, and then I have all this stuff with the finance here. Finance and mysticism is crazy, and then I have them here. What I say that the masters of the universe converged for leveraged giving buyouts. So that's a bit of play upon my finance work and mysticism. I even have Serge Santiago reading from part 5 of the Smiling Whiteness, the poetry of David Smith, with Auricula as a listener. Are you a good listener? That's good.